following a big global story today that matters here in America. The latest on a reported oil attack by Iran on Iraq. Now, Iranian forces occupied a well in Iraq's East Mazen field. And the headline crossing in just the past couple of moments is Iraq now says its sovereignty was violated along a clearly demarcated border. There have been many conflicting reports over when this happened, how frequently it's happened, and, well, if it happened. But what is the motivation here, and what does it mean for global oil prices? The two countries, keep in mind, according to the CIA, are the world's third and fourth largest oil reserves, Iraq being number 4 and really could move up to number 2 or number 1 as more discoveries come in. John Kilduff is with us, founder and co-CIO of Round Earth Capital. John, obviously lots of conflicting headlines here. History is important in this case, though. Iran does not hope for Iraq's success. How about putting it that way?
Well, there's no question about that, particularly, Aaron, the levels that Iraq could quickly achieve. I mean, you're talking about infrastructure that was held together on a major sanctions regime for years that produced about where they're at right now, about 2 million barrels per day. They could easily get to 4 or 5 million barrels in the next couple of years, and that's going to squeeze out or have to squeeze out other OPEC production. So Iran in particular does not want to see their Iraqi neighbor succeed in this venture.
It was interesting that at first today, Iraq tried to deny it even happened. Maybe because they were humiliated or upset they couldn't defend it. I don't know. That was some of the speculation. But then we heard that this isn't the first time. It actually has been happening over several days or perhaps weeks. Do you think that there is potentially a bigger story here, that Iran is really potentially doing something militarily, or is that not something you could foresee?
No, I think there's no question that this is all very much calculated on Iran's behalf. The scrutiny they're getting because of their nuclear weapons ambitions, the tightening of the screws internationally now as the year runs out and the Obama deadline comes to its fruition, is going to have us see more of this. Some of these areas are in dispute, but Iran doesn't do anything without calculation here, and so they are going to try to make as much trouble for as many people as they can as we go down to the wire here. There were just headlines crossing a few moments ago as well that they are in the process of building new generations of centrifuges. So they hold the nuclear program very dear to their national pride and security. So this is far from over.
And John, what's your view of the oil market's reaction? I mean, we were briefly earlier today over $75 a barrel. Now the market appears to have taken it a bit more in stride. We're only up about $1, just shy of 74. Do you think the market over or underreacted?
I think it reacted appropriately. Keep in mind, too, the oil market shaking off an ever-strengthening dollar as well on this. This comes on the heels of earlier in the week when Iran tested another missile, and also this strange plane laden with weapons that's been held up now in Thailand from North Korea. There's some speculation that was headed for Iran as well. So, and plus, there's growing concern that Israel is pressing for a military strike on Iran's nuclear assets. All these things are going to get that security premium that we've talked so much about over the years that comes in and goes away back on the front burner.
And what about the United States, John? What do they do? I mean, we have 115,000 troops still in Iraq. Do we avoid these sorts of incursions with a 50-foot pole because America's trying to avoid direct confrontation with Iran? And if we don't avoid it and we actually do go in and try to help them defend wells, if there are some Iranian troops that come in, what happens then?
I think at some point, U.S. military, Iraq military, and at some point as well, I think particularly in the first quarter, this is going to need to be watched very carefully. There will be military action against Iran, particularly by Israel. So it's going to make the markets very nervous. It's going to make the oil markets skyrocket for sure, at least temporarily. Not that there's any structural problems or any shortages to be concerned about, but certainly on the headlines as they cross, as we saw this morning, it's a preview of what we can expect. But these incursions and this other mischief, it's not going to be allowed to stand by the international community at some point.
John Kilduff, thank you very much. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Aaron.